This video is about Bruce Lee and Bruce Lee not being a god. Bruce Lee is like an Albert Einstein for the martial arts. He's not a god, he's a human being. A scientist like Albert Einstein for the martial arts that was very good at what he did, to analyze and discover and create and pave a new way, inspire many, just like Albert Einstein has done. And he's seen as probably the most famous scientist ever, and discovered things that people didn't know of, and that spawned the creation of many things to come. And his works have been studied by every single scientist, and what he discovered, people start to build on it until we have what we have today. So Bruce Lee, in a sense, did the same thing for the martial arts community. Now, what spawned the development of this video and this topic is just me thinking about people who idolize Bruce Lee to the point where they believe he's a god and everything that he says is the gospel truth, and they live by his words, and they keep quoting him and thinking that everything he says is complete truth and that cannot be argued, or basically people that just follow him blindly without thinking on their own and discovering the truth for themselves. This is the reason why I'm making this video, is to address those types of people. And that Albert Einstein, for example, is extremely intelligent, but of course he still would make mistakes. Of course he would make invalid hypotheses, or trial and error. Sometimes he may make a certain assumption and then discover that that's not the truth, and then he constantly reevaluating and analyzing and experimenting will he discover the truth. And so Bruce Lee is like the same way. He would make certain statements, and later on he may discover that that prior statement might not have been true, because he would have gathered more experience in order to come closer to the truth. Now, because he died at a pretty young age, the people that follow him and the people that have been inspired by him end up possibly can become stunted in their intelligence if they do not go beyond him. Now, Albert Einstein is different in the sense that Albert Einstein lived pretty much a full life until his old age, and then he passed away. So he lived for so many years and was able to share his discoveries and his creations through many decades, and so like a full lifespan, so that people could learn through his growth. But Bruce Lee is different because he died at a pretty young age, so people will only have a glimpse of the potential expression of wisdom that he could have had if he lived his full lifespan of an average human being. The same thing happened to Tupac Shakur. Died at a very young age, at the age of 25, resulted in stunted intelligence for his followers and the people that have been inspired by him, because then they don't see his growth through the years, and because they don't see that, they can falsely come to the conclusion that he was at his peak of intelligence when he wasn't. So Bruce Lee is just a huge figure in the martial arts, as Albert Einstein has been for the scientific community. But Bruce Lee and even Albert Einstein would be nothing compared to sages like Lao Tzu or Buddha. Now, if you keep leading back to the wisest people that have ever lived, you'd be talking about people like Jesus, like Socrates, like Lao Tzu, like Osho, like Buddha, and a lot of these great figures that many people follow, maybe like a Krishna for the Indians. So really, these great sages have that wisdom, and way beyond the wisdom of Bruce Lee or even the intelligence of Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein would be the mental development, but not the spiritual that goes beyond the mental. So if you look deeply into it, if you ever study Buddha's teachings, he'd probably be one of the wisest, most intelligent, most scientific human beings that has ever lived on the planet. And people have different views on what religion is, but if you look at the stereotypical view, his teachings are not religious. They're more scientific than anything, because it's based on your experience. It doesn't just depend on blind faith, just blind belief that what he says is true. It's based on your experience, and through your experience, if you see what he sees, then you'll automatically be heading towards the truth. So what I'm saying is that Bruce Lee, none of these people are gods. They're just extremely enlightened human beings. And perfect intelligence, a perfect being. In modern times, that'd be hard to come by. Modern times meaning like a Bruce Lee or a Osho or a Tupac or anybody, or Albert Einstein, or Sigmund Freud, any of these people modern, it would be hard to come by to see a perfect human being, because we have so much technology that no longer are you depending on stories of how somebody used to be, and then the stories gets changed as time goes by, and then all of a sudden, the stories become more and more outrageous, saying that, the person was walking on the water and curing all these incurable diseases and whatever. But in modern times, you see through videos and pictures or whatever of what people are capable of doing. And it would be rare to come across a perfect human being. But regardless of that, the wisdom that people like Lao Tzu and Buddha, the wisdom that they share through their teachings, is something that is deeply profound, regardless of how they actually lived. But the wisdom that they share is deeply profound. And that wisdom is what really will get you to understand yourself, understand the society to a much greater extent, and in turn make you become wise as well. Now, if you're a follower of a certain religion, no matter if it's, you call yourself a Catholic or a Christian or whatever, if you follow the teachings of Jesus, if you follow the uncorrupted teachings of Jesus, then it should lead you towards the same way, towards the truth, towards the reality. But I think a lot of this stuff out there has been corrupted, and people have a difficult time seeing through the false. So if you are limited by one person, one being, and thinking that everything he says is the gospel truth, it's safe to say that you'd be following somebody blindly. And if you learn from many people, no matter if it's from J. Krishnamurti, Bruce Lee, Jesus, Socrates, Plato, Albert Einstein, Sigmund Freud, Abraham Maslow, Buddha, Lao Tzu, Chang Tzu, Lai Tzu, Sun Tzu. I mean, if you learn from all these people, all these wise people, and you see like an underlying theme of what they're trying to teach, then you'll come closer to the truth, rather than just being limited by one, thinking that Bruce Lee has all the answers or Jesus has all the answers, and you shouldn't ever listen or see any type of truth in anybody else that may be saying something a little different. And really, if you could go beyond just limiting yourself in any way, then that's how you are going to be able to develop yourself to your greatest potential. Not just in the martial arts realm, but in life in general. And if you start to understand martial arts deeply, then you understand life deeply, because they go hand in hand. You see the limitations people have in being so confined in style, thinking that their style is the best style, not seeing that there is no such thing as style. And then if you don't limit yourself to style, then you limit yourself to saying, Bruce Lee's the greatest martial arts ever, nobody else, then you fall into another type of limitation. And if you fall into the trap of believing that only your God is the real God, or this religion is the only real religion, then you're falling into the same limitations. So if you open up your mind and see the reality, if you see the truth, if you see the beauty in just life and everything it has to offer, then that is the way.